Well, the creators of JavaFX added lots of features to the library. There's one thing that's kind of interesting that they left out, and that is the ability to write an image out to a file. And so because that's not in the JavaFX library, we have to do a little bit more work to get our ScalaFX applications to save images to a file. So for example, if I wanted to save the modified image that I made previously where I turned half of the image into a grayscale, if I wanted to take this writable image that we made and save that out, I need to do a little bit more work to do so. Now, part of the reason why they did this is inevitably because the Java libraries already have good support for writing images to file. There is a package in Java. It's under the JavaX library, or top level package. Java libraries are written into the Java and the JavaX. The X ones had originally been extensions, and then a lot of them have been added into the primary libraries. JavaX.image.io, and there is a type in there called image.io with capitals. This has methods in it like write. It also has the ability to read images out. The only challenge in using it is that it does not know about the ScalaFX images because it was written to work with older libraries. So in order to write something out to file, we have to not only use the image.io. Once we've done that import, we can simply say image.io.write. Then the question is what we pass into it. Now the first thing we would pass in needs to be the image. I'll have to come back and edit that. The second thing is a string that specifies a format. In my case, I feel like writing this out as a PNG instead of a JPEG. And then we're also supposed to pass in a file. And this is a java.io.file. And I'll call this castle2.png. This library does not work with the ScalaFX writable image. It needs kind of the older style Java image. Here again, they did provide functionality to do this. There is in the package, so we'll need to do an import here. Well, we don't have to, but I'm going to do an import so that we don't use remarkably long names for this. Under ScalaFX, there is a ScalaFX.embed, and the embed packages allow you to work with older libraries. In this case, we're kind of operating with the Swing library. And one of the things that's inside of there is a Swing FX utils. Okay, this is utility functions to work between Swing and ScalaFX or JavaFX. One of the things that we can do with that is we can convert an image from one type to another. So we can say from FX image. So we're converting from an FX image to one of the older style images. We have to pass in the image that we want to convert, which in this case is WIMG. And there is another argument. If you happen to have an image that you want it to write to, you can pass that in. If you tell it null, it will just create a new image for you. So this line of code will write out our new image as a PNG file at this file name. And so if I run this, the GUI will pop up the same as it did before, but now I have a new file, castle2.png, and we could load that in and look at it or whatnot. So if you need to write out files, that's a way to do it. What if the thing that you want to write out to a file is not actually an image though? What if I wanted to somehow get an image of other stuff? Well, here again, turns out that ScalaFX has support for that. you have the ability to take any node and even an entire scene and take a snapshot of it. So if I wanted my entire GUI scene to be converted kind of to an image, I can take a snapshot of the scene, and if I pass it a writable image, it will use that and it will hold the rendered scene in there, and it returns the same image so that you can stick these things together. There's also a version that takes a callback function so that you can be notified of it, because it's possible this snapshot might take a while to render. Turns out the plain old node, so you can pick any node in your scene, and there are also snapshot methods in here. They're a little bit different. You have to pass in some parameters for how you want things to work. Things that aren't specified in the node that are specified in the scene as well. Things like a camera that we'll talk about later when we get to 3D graphics. And then the writable image that you want to write it to. So if you want to capture what your GUI looks like and then save that out to file, remember that you can always take a snapshot of that, and then with that snapshot you can use a line of code that looks like this and write that snapshot out to a file to save it off.